Before the beginning of 2021, there was a joyful atmosphere in the family of a former MLA from Arunachal Pradesh. The reason for the happiness was that the family was expecting a new member. Their daughter-in-law was 6 months pregnant. However, before this joy could fully blossom, the family was struck by a devastating tragedy. News came in that the pregnant daughter-in-law had died in a road accident. Because the case involved a high-profile family, the police quickly reached the scene and began their investigation. Initially, it seemed like a straightforward case of a road accident, but as the investigation progressed, shocking revelations started to come to light. It turned out that some of the closest people had betrayed trust and love. The innocent pregnant woman had been brutally murdered. We are talking about one of the most chilling cases in Arunachal Pradesh history, the techie Meena Leshi murder case. So, what really happened in this case, which was caught between claims of accident and murder? This is the story of a woman named techie Meena Leshi, who was from a middle-class family in Arunachal Pradesh. Bright and focused from a young age, Meena completed her early education locally and moved to Itanagar in 2008 for higher studies. There, she enrolled in a polytechnic college. During her studies, Meena met Ranya, the son of a local MLA. Despite their vastly different backgrounds, Meena from a modest family, Ranya from a powerful political one, the two became close friends. Over time, their friendship turned into love, and soon they made a commitment to spend their lives together. When they shared their intentions with their families, there was initial resistance due to the economic and social gap. But eventually, after Meena and Ranya stood firm in their decision, both families agreed to the match. The two got married in 2012. Their married life began happily. In 2014, they welcomed a baby girl into their lives. Alongside managing family responsibilities, Meena also began working as the accounts and finance secretary for the Miss Arunachal organization. Meanwhile, Ranya continued to expand his business ventures. Everything seemed to be going well, until things started to change in 2017. Gradually, their relationship began to deteriorate, and cracks started to appear. Eventually, Ranya began demanding a divorce. This development reached both families, who then attempted to mediate and understand the reasons behind the growing tension. Despite having no solid reason, everyone in the family convinces the couple to stay together. Their efforts succeed, and the couple reconciles. The next 2 years pass by peacefully for both of them. However, in 2019, Ranya once again demands a divorce. This time too, the family intervenes and manages to calm things down, and the couple continues to live together. While they are living together, in early 2020, Meena shares the good news with her family that she is pregnant again. Both families are overjoyed because, after a long time, a new child was going to be born in the family. The happiness was even greater as everything between the couple seemed to be normal again. Ranya started taking good care of Meena and began behaving like a responsible husband and father. Everything was going well in the family, and Meena's pregnancy had reached 7 months. Preparations for welcoming the new member had begun. But suddenly, on the afternoon of November 5, 2020, the family received shocking news that shattered their world. Meena was traveling in her Innova car when she met with an accident near the Kasingsa block point in Arunachal. It was a deserted area. Some passers-by who noticed the crashed car informed the police. When the police arrived at the scene, they found the car off the road, and Meena was alone inside, severely injured and bleeding. She was immediately rushed to the hospital, where doctors declared her dead. They also confirmed that the 7-month-old fetus had not survived the accident. The police noticed something unusual when they reached the accident site. Meena's body was inside the car, but there was no sign of the driver. Also, her body had deep wounds, yet the vehicle didn't show significant external damage. This raised questions. How could the person inside the car be fatally injured while the car itself showed minimal damage? Sensing foul play, a special investigation team of senior officers was formed. The first step was to find out who was driving the car. The police contacted Ranya and got the driver's phone number. The car was driven by a man named Dang Suong. When the police questioned him about fleeing the accident site, he said he panicked and ran away. However, the police were not convinced by his explanation and decided to take him into custody. They soon located him and brought him in for questioning. Their suspicion deepened upon seeing that, despite driving the car involved in the fatal accident, the driver was completely unharmed, not a single scratch on his body. Interrogation began, and for hours, the driver kept repeating that he had dozed off while driving, and the car veered off the road, causing Meena's death. But the police were not ready to accept this version and continued to question him thoroughly. Meanwhile, Meena's post-mortem report arrives, and it reveals a shocking truth. Meena didn't die from the injuries of an accident, but from a brutal assault. The report suggests she was attacked with a heavy object, possibly an iron hammer. There were also signs of physical abuse on different parts of her body. With this revelation, the police intensify their questioning of the driver. For 4 continuous days, he is interrogated. Finally, after days of pressure, all his cleverness fails, and he starts telling the truth, a truth that leaves everyone stunned. The driver confesses that this was not an accident at all. Meena was murdered, and then her death was staged to look like a road accident. The driver reveals something that shocks everyone. The person behind the murder was none other than Meena's husband, Leshi Ronnie. Following this revelation, on November 10, 2020, Leshi Ronnie is arrested by the police. Interrogation begins, and one by one, chilling truths begin to unfold. According to the investigation, when Leshi Ronnie failed to divorce Meena, he decided to eliminate her completely. He reached out to an old friend named Kabwang Lethi Loa, who lived in Tairang village. Ronnie tells his friend that he wants his wife dead, but it must be done in a way that no one suspects foul play. Kabwang then contacts 2 contract killers from nearby Tarap district, Datha Suyong and Tain Kanian. Both agree to carry out the murder. On October 27, 2020, Kabwang brings the killers to a hotel in Atanaga. The next day, Leshi Ronnie also joins them. All 4 sit down and finalize the murder plan. Ronnie promises to pay 10 Indian rupees lakh in total for the murder of his 7-month pregnant wife. On October 28th itself, he pays 5 Indian rupees lakh as advance. The remaining 5 lakh was to be paid after the job was done. According to the plan, the murder would be disguised as a road accident. On October 30th, another meeting is held, where it's decided that Datha Suyong will act as Meena's new driver and execute the plan. But on November 2nd, Datha tells Ronnie's friend that he can't do it alone. So, another person, Damia Koya, is added to the plan. The murder date is set for November 5th, 2020. On November 4th, a final check of all preparations is done, and the exact location for the murder is fixed. Finally, the day arrives, November 5th, 2020. As per the plan, Ronnie tells Meena in the morning that they need to go to Karsangsa for a land deal and asks her to come along. At the scheduled time, Datha Suyong, now the driver, picks them up. Damia Koya is already seated in the back seat of the car. As the car drives ahead, passing a Shiv temple on the route, Damia suddenly attacks Meena from behind. She tries to defend herself and scream for help, but no one in the car helps her. Damia then pulls out a heavy iron hammer and starts hitting her repeatedly until she stops breathing. Once they are sure she is dead, they carefully drive the car to the side of the road and push it into a ditch to make it look like an accident. Then they all flee the scene. Later, passers-by spot the car and call the police. With that, the police finally have an answer. This wasn't an accident. It was a planned and cold-blooded murder. While the police had uncovered many aspects of the case, one question still remained unanswered. Why was the murder committed? Further interrogation led the police to the disturbing motive, Leshi Ronnie's extramarital affair. Back in 2016, Ronnie had fallen in love with a woman named Chumitea. Deeply infatuated, he began trying to separate from his wife. But when his attempts to get a divorce failed, he devised a sinister plan to eliminate her instead. In a heartless act, Ronnie murdered his wife, who was 7 months pregnant at the time. As the investigation progressed, the police arrested 5 people involved in the conspiracy. Meena's, the victim's, family also accused Ronnie's girlfriend, Chumitea, of being part of the plot. Following this accusation, she too was taken into custody. Later, a man named Vijay Vishwas, also known as Dengu, was identified as another suspect and was arrested. The police charged all the accused under several serious sections including murder, criminal conspiracy, destruction of evidence, and killing of an unborn child. On January 5, 2021, some of the accused applied for bail in court, but their applications were rejected. A few weeks later, on February 4, 2021, the police filed a charge sheet against a total of 7 individuals. After further hearings, on January 10, 2023, Chumite and Vijay Vishwas were acquitted due to lack of evidence. However, charges were formally framed against Lisharani and 4 others, who were then sent to jail. Currently, all the accused are lodged in Julie District Jail, and the case is still being heard in the local court. Justice will eventually catch up with these criminals. But what do you think would be a fair punishment for those who brutally murdered an innocent woman? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. If you appreciated the effort behind this story, don't forget to like and share the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Crime Ki Kahani and hit the bell icon to stay updated with more such true crime stories. Thank you for watching.